Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at noon starts now.
A big and historic day for those affected by the Flint water crisis. We are one step closer to a settlement deal that could bring hundreds of millions of dollars into the Vehicle City.
Plus, after receiving emergency use authorization, Moderna's coronavirus vaccine is ready to roll out across the country. We'll tell you who is receiving the first shipments. But first, more help is on the way. The words of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell as Congress agrees to a new $900 billion coronavirus relief bill. Good afternoon, everybody, and that tops our news at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Karen Drew. After months of Washington gridlock, Congress is set to act today on the relief package. The bill is considered a stopgap to help people hurting in an economy crippled by the pandemic. Chris Pallone is on Capitol Hill this afternoon with the latest details and a look at what happens next.
After weeks of haggling, it appears both houses of Congress will vote today on a new coronavirus relief package. President Trump has said if it passes, he will sign it into law, meaning money could start flowing soon to people and businesses struggling during the pandemic.
The Senate stands adjourned till noon tomorrow.
Negotiations went down to the wire, but today a new COVID relief bill could finally become law.
We've agreed to a package of nearly $900 billion. It is packed with targeted policies that help struggling Americans who've already waited entirely too long.
The deal will send $600 in direct payments to qualifying Americans, add $300 a week to unemployment checks, provide more loans to small businesses, and direct extra funds to distribute COVID vaccines across the country. There is also help for people struggling to pay their rent as well.
Our purpose has always been to crush the virus, to put money in the pockets of the American people, which we do in this legislation.
The bill does not provide liability protection from COVID-19 related lawsuits for businesses, universities, and healthcare centers, a Republican push, or extra money to state and local governments, a key want for Democrats. But Democrats see this agreement as a bridge to more relief once Joe Biden becomes president.
While this bill is far from perfect, nor is it the bill that we would pass if Democrats had a majority in the Senate, it is a strong shot in the arm to help American families weather the storm.
Both sides pointing fingers at each other, saying a deal could have been reached weeks ago. You might remember there was a chance for a government shutdown, but Congress passed 2 more days of funding over the weekend. That was scheduled to run out at midnight last night, but both houses passed a 1 more day extension, and President Trump signed it into law, meaning lawmakers have just today to pass this COVID relief bill. In Washington, Chris Pallone, now back to you.
All right, thank you, Chris. Here at home, a new COVID relief bill could be signed later this afternoon. The Michigan House announced this morning it has approved a $465 million relief bill that was passed by the Senate on Friday night. The plan could be on the governor's desk for formal approval as soon as this afternoon. The plan includes relief payments to businesses and workers struggling to stay afloat because of the coronavirus. Meantime, shipments of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine are arriving at hospitals all across the country today, but it comes as cases and deaths are rising at an alarming rate, and health officials warning it could still get worse. Tom Costello has the latest.
There is new hope this morning in the fight against COVID-19. Millions of doses of Moderna's vaccine now joining Pfizer's in shipments to thousands of sites nationwide.
5.9 million doses of the Moderna vaccine and 2 million doses of the Pfizer vaccine.
But as cases surge with many hospitals now overwhelmed, new concern ahead of the holidays.
Unfortunately, there may be more with the Christmas, over the Christmas holidays.
That warning as the CDC's advisory panel has released new recommendations for who should be vaccinated next. Among them, people over the age of 75 and essential workers like first responders, teachers, postal workers, and public transit employees, and individuals involved with the food supply chain, including grocery store workers.
I want to take personal responsibility.
Meanwhile, the man in charge of vaccine distribution says he's responsible for some states receiving significantly fewer doses of Pfizer's vaccine than they expected.
I failed. I am adjusting. I am fixing, and we will move forward from there.
Similar to the distribution of Pfizer's vaccine, UPS and FedEx will split deliveries of Moderna's. This all coming during the busiest time of the year for both companies.
As the COVID-19 pandemic materialized, that was just an added layer to our planning process.
At the UPS Worldport in Louisville, Captain Mike Meyer, a friend of mine since childhood, is in the cockpit. A former Air Force fighter pilot, he's now on one of the most high-profile missions of his career.
Hopefully we're going to save some lives getting the vaccine out there. All hands on deck at UPS Airlines to get the job done, and we're excited to be able to be part of it.
And for driver Todd Elby, who lost his own father to COVID last month, delivering these vaccines is deeply personal.
After many years at UPS, this has been my most important load that I've hauled. And to bring this back, I feel Dad was in the truck with me today.
Tom Costello, NBC News.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Later today, President-elect Joe Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, will receive the first dose of the Pfizer vaccine in Delaware. We do expect an update this afternoon on Michigan's coronavirus numbers. Meantime, changes in the state's COVID-19 restrictions go into effect today. High school students can return to in-person learning. Some businesses will also be allowed to reopen. Those include casinos, movie theaters, and bowling alleys. The order does extend the indoor dining ban through January 15th, but Governor Whitmer says she will consider lifting the restrictions earlier if cases continue to drop. Let's get a look at our weather today, and Brandon Rude joins us with more on what we can expect this afternoon. Hi, Brandon.
Hi, Karen. Yes, we officially hit winter this morning, 5:02 a.m., winter solstice. We'll talk a little more about that, but right on call, we have a little bit of snow moving in here, par for the course for winter solstice. You can see 4Live radar, and we are tracking light to moderate snow moving through Lansing and Jackson. It's in Lenawee County, but it's dry just about everywhere else. So that will be moving in through the afternoon. Temps are right there at 36, 37 degrees. We have 39 at Mount Clemens, 36 at Metro Airport, and wind chills in the upper 20s to low 30s. I would expect an inch or less, and that's mainly west and north zones through the afternoon. Could also mix in a little bit of rain, a wintry mix on this winter solstice as temps hover right there in the middle 30s. We'll get some reinforcements after this first wave, so a slippery commute later, Karen, and we're also tracking another system in the 7-day. Brings hope for a white Christmas.
Oh, that sounds great. All right. Thank you very much, Brandon. Appreciate it. Well, today could be a really big day in the Flint water crisis. A judge will decide this afternoon whether to preliminarily approve a proposed $641 million settlement to resolve civil lawsuits connected to the crisis. Hank Winchester joins us with a preview.
This is a big day for the city of Flint and the people affected by the Flint water crisis. Let me talk to you about what is playing out. In federal court this afternoon, a judge is going to decide whether the settlement deal reached by the state and the city can move forward. We're talking about more than $600 million that could make its way to those affected by the water crisis. Now, that money would be used to help pay for expenses, medical issues, moving forward. It would help bring new nutritional programs and educational programs to people affected by the ongoing crisis. Again, a decision is going to be made in federal court later this afternoon. It is something that I'll be following throughout the day, and we're also talking with those in Flint who've been directly impacted by the ongoing water crisis. I'll have much more for you today, beginning live at 5 o'clock. I'm Hank Winchester. Help me, Hank.
Fiat Chrysler is donating $400,000 to a Detroit neighborhood fund. The automaker's contribution is part of a community benefits agreement tied to its assembly plant on the city's east side. As part of the community benefits agreement, FCA is required to invest in the surrounding neighborhoods, job training, and education. The company is also investing $285,000 to the Chandler Park Conservancy to help fund an environmental education plaza. Still to come, this noon, concerns in the United Kingdom of a new strain of coronavirus. Find out what health officials are doing to stop the spread. But first, tense moments in Hawaii after a volcano erupts in the middle of the night. Details next.